So I'm in the middle of this painting and I thought I'd make a quick video about adding meaningful detail to a painting. Detail that makes sense and isn't just textural noise. I'm not going to talk about rendering spheres or lighting or any of that because all of that info is abundant. I'm just going to get into a very practical application of adding meaningful detail. So if I were to add some more forms or detail to the forehead, for instance, I can take a brush stroke, put it across the form like that, and it doesn't connect, it doesn't fit in, it's just kind of laying on top. But next, what I'll do is I'll taper the form from one side, right? It's very important that your shapes have implied depth. So I almost always taper my shapes or my brush strokes. And then to connect it further, I can add a gradation on one side, right? So now it feels like it's a little more connected. What I'll do next is something I call, or maybe others call, stair stepping, right? It's like you're creating a stair like this, like that. So I got the brush stroke like this, and then I paint into it like this. And you see this all the time in master paintings and just any painting that anybody does. It's everywhere. But in case you don't know about it, it's very useful. So what I have here so far is this little detail on the forehead, like I don't know, a scar or something. Not a scar, more like an indent or something. So what I'll do next is I'll add a core shadow like that. Don't want to be too heavy-handed with it. Maybe add an occlusion shadow as well, like that. Okay, and then I'll add. Actually, I might actually talk about spheres. And then I'll add, another subform on top of that. Typically, give it a taper. The reason for that is there's a lot of reasons for it, design reasons, and like big, medium, small. But also, if we do have a sphere and it's got light, right? The detail is going to come in and it's going to taper out, right? There's lots of detail, big forms maybe, and then small details as it moves toward the light, right? Right. Horrible sphere, but you get the idea. It creates. It implies that there's that the fall off is taking place somewhere around here. Like there's a reason. Like the form is turning, so that's why you're seeing detail. Anyway, I'm not very good at explaining. Just do that. Add small subforms around bigger forms. It makes sense from a design perspective and a lighting perspective. What else? I was going to say something else. What was I going to say? Oh, also, if you still feel like you're missing lighting, so let's say you have like here's like a plane that you're working with, right? Let's say it's like on the forehead. And you have a light side, you have a shadow side, right? But that doesn't really feel like it's lit, right? It doesn't feel like light. If you have this issue where you've got your light separated from your darks, but it still doesn't feel like lighting, it's because lighting is it's a result of a continual change in values. So it's not just a separation of light and dark. It's not just adding detail or during the transition, right? It's not just adding, your highlight or whatever. It's a continual change. Like, it's a continual change. You want to have continual changes, and then you can add like, that's how you get. If to feel like light, you need a continual change in values. I mean, it depends on the style. There's so many styles you can do. I'm not gonna act like this is like a infallible truth or something, but if your paintings feel flat, even though you have separation between light and dark, and you have your values, this is actually a terrible painting for that example because the face is not even lit. But if you feel like you've got the elements in place, but it still doesn't feel like light, like actual light, it's because there needs to be a continual change in value. Also, there's two kinds of lighting. Well, I say there's two kinds of lighting. There is. How was I gonna show this? There is there's structural lighting, right? This is like structural lighting. This is what I would call structural lighting. You've got your painting in the actual forms that exist on whatever it is that you're painting, right? Like you're adding in the details. But this is only one aspect of lighting. There's another aspect of lighting that is atmospheric. So there's lighting that changes. There's structure that appears that are intrinsic to the form, that are independent of the lighting that's hitting it, right? So your hands, all the structure of your hand, and all the subforms and wrinkles and all that obviously it doesn't change with the light, but your hand does appear to change with the light. Like if you put your hand under a light bulb or under the sun, the lighting is completely different, even though the actual structure would be identical no matter what the lighting situation is. So that is what I call structural lighting. And then there's atmospheric lighting. So once you have your structural lighting in place, you can add atmosphere to it like this, right? And so that's what I would call atmospheric lighting, which is separate from structural lighting. Oh, what the hell? There was something else I wanted to say, but what else was it? I don't know what I wanted to say, but okay, that's everything. Good luck to you all.